Federal Trade Commission. I just wanted to let you know that in compliance with your 2013 update entitled .com Disclosures, that the book I'm about to discuss and review was sent to me free of charge by a publisher in exchange for my honest review. So, if you're watching, I hope you enjoy.
Alright. Earthbound and Earthquake, both by Aprilynne Pike, are two books that I read earlier this summer and I'm just now getting around to talking about. Both of these detail the life of a girl named Tavia Michaels, who is the sole survivor of a plane crash which killed both of her parents, and she's now been sent to live with her aunt and uncle and start this whole new life. She has attained a massive leg wound, and she sort of has this odd limp, and of course a lot of psychotherapy is going to be necessary because she is, I think she's 16, and she obviously does not have any parents, and this is a massive traumatic event, so of course she's in therapy to sort of rectify the situation. However, once she moves to her aunt and uncle's home, she begins having these weird visions of this person that she's never met. And eventually she learns that his name is Quinn, and he sort of looks like he's from the early, like late 1800s, maybe early 1900s, and he sort of is wandering around her town in New Hampshire, and she sees him and decides that it's a good idea to follow him because she doesn't know what's going on. She ropes her friend Benson into the whole deal, which is a boy that she knows from the library and she is pretty much in love with, and they eventually set off on this journey to figure out what this guy who she keeps seeing is about and where he's trying to lead her and what he wants. And that is the premise of the first book. By the second book, Earthquake, Tavia learns why she's seeing this guy and who this person is, and how there is this whole sort of underground movement of people called Earthbounds, which are people that can shape things and make things, and it's very, very fantastical. And I don't want to say any more because if you do read them, it will ruin a lot of the plot for you. It's not, and I don't want to be spoilerish about these, but it's hard to talk about them without saying a lot of what happens. So I think these were really dubbed to be sort of fantasy, almost sci-fi books, which I was really interested in because there's not a lot of like quality young adult fantasy sometimes, and it's very difficult to find, especially when it gets fantastical. I'm a huge fan of the Ender's Game series and those which follow it, and I guess my hopes were a little too high because I did not enjoy these very much at all. I felt that Earthbound had a really slow introduction to the main character. I just didn't like her. She was annoying and she kept running off into danger when it was clear that that's not what she should have been doing, and she should have asked for help. You can always ask people to help you solve your problems. You can always ask people for help when you are having issues, and that's not something that she was doing, and it drove me crazy. Later on, it's determined that there is a rift between these two groups with the Earthbounds and another set of people who are actually sort of after her. And so at that point, I understand not asking for help because you don't know who to trust, but she wanted to be by herself and was so in love with Benson through both of these books that it really, really affected her ability to make decisions and drove me insane. The elaborate backstory into the two different groups of Earthbounds and the people that disagree with them was intricate and complex, and I felt it was really sort of flown through. Especially in this book, it sort of all just tumbles out in one sort of climactic moment toward the end, and it doesn't really get very much more explained in Earthquake. There are more intricacies, and it felt like you were being thrown into the world having a pretty decent grasp, but not enough grasp, and that irritated me. This book is really where more of the science fiction element came into play, so that was nice to see. But the thing about this book is that it really reminded me of Allegiant. This, I felt, held a lot of parallels up to Allegiant, the third book in the Divergent trilogy, in which the main characters are sort of sequestered from the rest of everyone and in a place where they're not sure who to trust, and it drives a wedge between the two main characters of this book, Tavia and Benson, and another third character named Logan, and I just kept seeing it, and it felt kind of like a poorly done ripoff. That is my honest opinion about how Earthquake went. The same kind of, you know, single character who runs the place, who you don't know what to think of, and it was so reminiscent in my mind that I couldn't shake the feeling that that is what it was sort of based off of. But that being said, I did give Earthquake 3 stars and Earthbound 2 stars because I did appreciate the sciencey bit in this. I'm always game for some science in fiction. So 2 stars and then 3 stars to Earthbound and Earthquake to Aprilynne Pike. I think I went into these, my expectations were a little bit high. And clearly not met. But if these stories sound interesting to you, I would definitely give them a try. Aprilynne Pike is the apparently best-selling author of Wings, which I have heard a little bit about, but I have never read, and hopefully that is a better justification of her canon's worth than these 2 are, but that is what I thought. I hope you're all having lovely weeks and lovely lives, and we'll see you very soon with another review.